Welcome to Formosa Dream Chasers.
We're your hosts, Mary Ann
and Ching-en.
Please join us as we explore the journeys amazing people take in pursuit of their dreams.
And get insights from their experiences.
Let's hit the road
and get started.
Hello, and welcome back to Formosa Dream Chasers. Last week, in part 1 of our conversation with Dan Orlovsky, we got to know all about his background and also learned about the story behind the name of Loracorlo, Kaohsiung's only Israeli restaurant. Today, we dive deeper into what makes Loracorlo truly special. Dan talks about the ingredients that gives his dishes their authentic flavor, many of which are imported directly from Israel to recreate the tastes he enjoys. From spices to specialty products, he explains why these ingredients matter and how they help bring a genuine Israeli culinary experience to southern Taiwan. He also explains his perspective on what an authentic Israeli dish means for him. He also shares insights from managing teams across different cultures, including Taiwan, Israel, China, and the Philippines, and what those experiences have taught him about communication and working with people from diverse backgrounds. Join us for part 2 of our conversation as we continue to explore the flavors, challenges, and cross-cultural lessons behind Dan and Loracorlo's journey.
Since we're talking about your restaurant and the food there, I'm wondering what are the unique ingredients that you use? You mentioned bringing in tahini. So specifically, was it only tahini that was difficult to find in Taiwan?
The tahini is the main one, I think, but we bring like others. First of all, tahini, it's a sesame paste, as I mentioned. And Taiwan, as you know, has a lot of sesame paste. Yeah.
Yes.
But it's a very different taste. Like, for example, like Taiwan tahini or Taiwan sesame paste usually is added with sugar and some oil and peanut butter or peanut paste or something like this. So the flavor is very, very different. So tahini, in order to maintain the taste that I want to get to it, we had to bring from Israel. Other stuff that we bring from here is ptitim. Ptitim, it's kind of noodles, toast pasta maybe. It's like pasta that is the process. It's making the pasta, and then make it toast in the oven, and then being packed. So after, when we want to cook it, we use some similar way of cooking rice. Similar, not the exact same, but similar way.
Okay.
So it's very unique taste. People tell me, like some customers tell me, oh, it's not rice, but it's not noodles. It's something in the middle. It's something very, very unique, I think. So ptitim, tahini. We bring coffee, black coffee from Israel. We bring some Israeli beers and Israeli liquors that we want to promote and show and introduce to our customers. We also bring some seasoning. Most of it we can find here, but the ones that we can't find, we bring it here. And yeah, that's about it. Like, we do one container every year. It mainly includes tahini. Tahini is the biggest portion. We use a lot, yes.
I see. And, sometimes a lot of these restaurants that showcase the different cuisines, most of the time they adapt the flavors a little bit so that it can fit into the local taste. Do you choose to do that, or do you stay true to tradition, to how Israeli cuisine should taste?
It's a great question. I'll answer the question with 2 questions that customers ask me every time, and then I'll give you the answers. The customer asks me 2 things: if I change
Ah,
the flavors as you ask to adapt to Taiwanese taste. And the
yes.
second question is if I'm an authentic Israeli restaurant. So my answer for both questions is no, because I don't change the flavors. But if I'm authentic, like for me, the word authentic Israeli restaurant, it's per your interpretation. So I mean, what is authentic? Like if I'll ask you, for example, there's a beef noodle soup in Huaxia Road next to my house, and there's a beef noodle soup in Boai Lu, in Boai Road. They are both Taiwanese. They both sell beef noodle soup, but the taste is very different. Is one of them authentic and the other is not authentic?
Ah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, so if you go to Israel, if you happen to visit Israel, you will get to taste one hummus and one falafel in one place, and you will go to the next day with tasting the other hummus and other falafel. You'll have totally different taste, different seasoning, different texture probably. So very different. And both of the restaurants are Israelis, are in Israel. Both are authentic, right? So when I'm serving the dishes in Loracorlo, I do it my way. Like I'm not sure it will fit all the Israeli people taste. Probably not. Like my friends and I in Israel, every Friday noon, we used to have a very, not an argument, but every time each one of us has his favorite hummus place. But we want to go together, right? So, okay, each time we have the argument, okay, this Friday, which hummus place are we going to go this time? So, for each time it was very different. So each one has his own favorite.
Ah, I see.
So here, I'm serving the way I like to eat it, the way I like to serve it. And again, I'm not sure it will fit everyone's taste.
I think that's a very good response because at the end of the day, what we enjoy is also based on our personal preference, right? So
Like,
I think what you mentioned does shed light to the idea that although something can be authentically, a country's cuisine, like authentically Israeli cuisine or authentically Filipino cuisine, there's still that personal preference that comes into play. Okay, that makes sense.
yes, absolutely.
And do you mind me going back a little bit into your story as to how you decided to set up a restaurant? Because you mentioned earlier in your introduction that your background is originally, in industrial engineering, and then when you were in the Philippines, you were managing a call center. So setting up a restaurant seems to be a big and yet very different step to, your career path. So how did your restaurant business begin?
Yes, it's absolutely different, but with a lot of similarities that I can refer to later on when I'll explain. But yes, it's a very different change. So we came to Taiwan 2020, in the year of 2020, and I love Taiwanese food. Like I love the beef noodle soup and I love the dumplings. I even love stinky tofu.
Oh,
In
okay.
some of the places, okay, not all of them, but
Okay.
some of the places I even love stinky tofu. So when I came to Taiwan, I love the food. My mother-in-law, she's a great cook, and we used to have great food at their place. But after a few months, I had I had not homesick in the way of go back to Israel, but I wanted to have the feeling of the taste. So I just decide, okay, I'll start cooking. I couldn't find any restaurant here in Kaohsiung that had Israeli or Mediterranean food. So I just decide, okay, and start cooking at home. And I start cooking, keep it simple. And of course, I let my wife, it's not the first time my wife had the Israeli food and she liked it already. But I start giving to family, like to try. And like surprisingly, they like it as well. And we start hosting also my wife's friend for dinner, for lunch. And I start cooking more and more. And like the feedbacks were amazing. Like, okay, that's a new taste, but it's a taste that we can relate. It's a taste that we can get used to it. So I said, okay, that's interesting. So in the beginning, it started as a joke, and I was telling my wife, what do you say? Maybe we'll open a restaurant tomorrow. Like everyone really likes our food, and like we don't have it here. And like after a while, it became like, from a joke, it became to, okay, maybe we'll give it another thought and another thought. And okay, let me start, because like when we came here during COVID, I was still figuring out what's my next step. I was not sure if we'll go back to Philippines or no. And I start figuring it out. Okay, so I started building a business plan and understand like what are the options here in Taiwan. And eventually, Loracorlo happened. And first in April 15, 2021, we opened our Loracorlo.
Oh, okay.
Yes, almost 5 years ago. Yes.
Okay. So you opened Loracorlo even if at the time it was still COVID. Like the COVID was still prevalent, right? And
Exactly. It was still here, but as you probably know, Taiwan was a safe haven for COVID. At least until we opened the restaurant, and then we opened in April 15, and the big eruption of COVID in Taiwan after it was really safe here happened like 3 weeks after we opened the restaurant.
oh no. Oh no.
So it was challenging, but
Yes.
we have a phrase in Hebrew. I'm not sure if it's in English as well. I know it in Hebrew, in my language. What does not kill you make you stronger.
Yes. We also have something similar. Yes.
So like it wasn't a death sentence. It was very hard beginning, absolutely. But we survived, and it made us stronger, I believe.
Okay. And how is the business doing now? I've heard a couple of good news as to your restaurants.
Yeah, it's doing good. There's always a place to improve. Like, it's part of the game. And we are always adding or like making sure that we are stable with our dishes. But 10 months ago, we opened our second location.
Mm-hmm.
We did like some work, like it's a little bit different than our first location. We wanted to make something maybe more fast, more quick, more to grab, more on the way.
Yes.
So we opened our Loracorlo Express in Melidao, in Formosa MRT station. It's a different concept a bit. Like in our Loracorlo original restaurant, we encourage people to share the dishes, to have we have different sets for 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 people. So we encourage people to share the dishes, and in that way to try more of our different options. And in Loracorlo Express, we understood the need of people that want to have individual sets. So it's very quick, and you can get only in a sandwich or also different pastries that we make here. But definitely we did increase or move forward our business, and we look forward with opening more in the future, of course.
Having had this experience of running restaurants here in Taiwan and also having experience working in the Philippines and China, I'm wondering, what would you say are maybe the differences of running businesses in these different countries? How do you find the business environment in Taiwan in general?
As you mentioned, I used to manage people in Israel and in China and in Philippines and in Taiwan.
Yes.
The culture is very, very different. Between each country has its own specific way that you need to handle and manage the people. I think here in Taiwan it's more similar to the Philippines, let's say, than to China. I think in Israel it's more similar to China than to Taiwan and Philippines. And what do I mean by that is, the approach to people in China and Israel is very, very straightforward. If I have any kind of criticism or I want to tell to one of the employees this thing was not done properly, I would just say this thing was not done properly. Next time do it different.
Okay.
And if I want to do it in Philippines and in Taiwan, I will need to take a different approach. I will need to a little bit to go around the problem, and I wouldn't say this you didn't do right. I will usually say, in the next time you're going to do it in a different way.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's related to the culture. It's like in China and Israel, everything is straightforward. People are more also saying whatever they want with less filters.
Okay.
And in Taiwan, I think also the people, it has a different way, a different approach in the relationship between, not related to work. I think people will they will say less what's on their mind, and they will have more filters before saying it out loud. That's what I encounter. Do you agree, by the way?
I'm thinking about what you said, and I'm wondering if it is related to, I know in Taiwan, the idea of not losing face, not embarrassing people, for example, or making sure that people, when you talk to them and you give them a criticism, you still give them that space so that they don't feel as if they're being put down, if that makes sense. So I think that's why people don't say things as directly. It's so that they don't lose face. And also, I also think it's also because they don't want to make the other person feel rejected, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's right what you're saying. It's also related to the face issues.
Yeah.
But I also think, again, it's related to the culture and less sharing, not even about war.
That's all the time we have today, but tune in again next week as we continue our chat with Dan Orlovsky as he shares his insights on communicating and working with people from diverse backgrounds.
This is Ching and Cho.
And Mary Ann Shoko.
See you guys next week. Bye.